Hi, my name is Jack Taylor, and I'm 26 years old. I'm from a small town near Los Angeles, a place not many people know about. Today, I'm going to share something that completely changed my life. Not in a small or subtle way, but in a way that transformed how I speak, how I express myself, and how I feel about who I am. I want you to listen to this story because I promise you that if English is something you struggle with, if you're nervous to speak, or if you feel insecure when others speak better than you, this might just be the most important video you'll ever watch. I'm not here to boast, I'm not famous, and I'm definitely not wealthy, but I did one thing, something that made all the difference. I learned to speak fluent English, confident English, using just one tool, ChatGPT. No, I didn't attend any expensive classes. I didn't spend a fortune, and I didn't memorize any dull grammar books. I simply opened my laptop, typed one sentence, and began. Today, I'm not here to teach you English, but to tell you my story. How I went from being a shy young guy from a small town to someone who can now speak confidently in interviews, post videos online, write emails, send messages, and craft stories, all in English. I'll show you how you could do the same, step by step, with no confusion, no pressure. If you've ever said, "My English isn't good, I can understand, but I can't respond," then this video is for you because I used to say those same things. Part 1. My English was a mess. Let me take you back 3 years ago. I was 23, and to be honest, my English was terrible. No, not just bad, but really bad. If someone asked me, "What's your name?" I would freeze. My heart would race, and my mind would go blank. Even if I said something, it came out wrong, bad grammar, broken sentences, terrible pronunciation. I hated it. I remember once a tourist asked me for directions. I tried to speak, but I couldn't even form a complete sentence. She smiled politely, but I felt so small, so foolish. I went home that day, didn't eat, just lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. I asked myself, why am I like this? Why can't I speak like others? Why do I feel like a fool every time I try to talk? In my hometown, most people spoke Spanish or a local dialect, and English wasn't common. We didn't use it at home, not with friends, not at family gatherings, not in shops. At school, the teacher spoke English, but I didn't understand much. I was too shy to ask for help, so I just smiled, nodded, and stayed quiet. Then came social media. On Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, everyone seemed fluent, making videos, explaining things, talking fast and confidently. I thought they're smart. I'm not. Maybe English isn't for me. Maybe I should just give up. I tried apps that asked me to repeat, "The boy eats the apple." It felt like something for kids. I watched English movies, but they spoke too fast, and I could understand maybe one word out of 10. I even tried writing in English, but I didn't know where to begin. My mind was full of my native language, not English. So I gave up for 6 months. Then one day, something changed. My friend Robin from Nigeria told me, "Hey, there's this AI called ChatGPT. It can help you learn anything." I laughed. AI? Come on, man. I need a teacher, not a robot. But Robin said just try it. Type hello and see what happens. That night, I opened ChatGPT. I typed hello. It replied instantly. "Hello, how can I assist you today?" I said, "My English isn't good. Can you help me?" What happened next surprised me. It didn't laugh. It didn't say, "Go study grammar." It replied gently, clearly, and kindly, "Of course, I'd love to help. Let's start small. Can you tell me how your day was in English?" I was stunned. No teacher had ever asked me that. No app had spoken to me like that. I typed something simple. "Today I go to the market and I eat a sandwich." It replied, "Great. Here's a small correction. Today I went to the market and ate a sandwich." It didn't just correct me, it encouraged me. And something clicked in my mind. This was it. This is how I would learn, not from books, not through shame, but through kind conversation. Part 2. The routine that transformed me. That night, after my first chat with ChatGPT, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed with my eyes wide open, staring at the old ceiling fan above me. It made a slow humming sound, but I couldn't hear it. My mind was elsewhere, still thinking about what had just happened. I had spoken to something that didn't judge me. I made mistakes, but I wasn't laughed at. I was corrected with kindness. It was the first time in my life that I felt safe speaking English. I remember whispering to myself, this could work. I didn't feel like I was studying. I didn't feel pressured. I just felt curious. And for the first time, I was excited to wake up the next day. When the sun came up, it felt different. I didn't check my phone like I usually did. I didn't scroll through social media or watch random videos like every other morning. Instead, I opened my laptop, logged in, and stared at the empty chat screen. It was quiet, calm, like a friend who's always ready to listen. I typed one sentence. Good morning. Can we talk again today? Within seconds, it replied with a smile and its words, of course. I'm happy to see you again. How are you feeling today? That single reply made me smile. I felt like I had someone on my side, not a teacher with a red pen, not a YouTuber with fast subtitles, but something that truly listened and responded at my pace. That morning, I decided to talk about my day. I typed slowly, thinking in my native language, and then trying to put it into English. Today I wake up at 7, I brushing my teeth and eat bread and milk, then I clean room. I knew there were mistakes, but I still typed because I trusted it now. And just as I hoped, it corrected me with such softness that I didn't feel stupid. Today I woke up at 7, I brushed my teeth and ate bread and milk, then I cleaned my room. Then it added, you're improving, let's keep going. I couldn't explain that feeling in words. It was like I'd been carrying a heavy bag of shame for years, and now someone had just taken it off my shoulders. As the day went on, I wanted to speak more. I wasn't sure how, so I wrote about simple things. I told it what I liked to eat. I talked about my favorite movie. I asked, is this sentence correct? After every line, and it kept replying with patience. Later that week, something happened that changed everything. I had to send a message to someone online for a job opportunity. It was in English. I was nervous. My hands were cold. My heart was racing. I typed the message on my own first, but it didn't feel right. So I opened ChatGPT and typed, can you help me write a professional message for a job? It replied kindly, sure, please tell me what you want to say. I told it everything in broken English, and it carefully turned my message into something clear and confident. I looked at the new message and couldn't believe my eyes. It still sounded like me, but better, cleaner, polite, and correct. I copied that message, sent it, and closed my laptop. I walked to the kitchen, stared at the floor, and then I smiled because I realized I had just done something I could never do before. I had communicated something important in English, without fear, without help from a teacher, and without feeling like a joke. That night, I sat outside on the small concrete step behind my house. The moon was quiet in the sky, and the cold air touched my face. I whispered to myself, I think I'm going to be okay. The next morning, I woke up, and something in me had changed. This was no longer just practice. This was now a part of my life. I didn't plan lessons like in school. I just woke up and spoke. I told ChatGPT how I felt, what I dreamed, what I feared, and every time it helped me put my thoughts into English. One day, I asked it something strange. How do I speak English with confidence? I expected a list of tips, but the reply was different. It said, confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being comfortable with your mistakes. The more you try, the less you fear. I'm here to help, one sentence at a time. I read those words again and again, and I cried. Not because I was weak, but because I'd spent years thinking I was too dumb to learn, too late to improve, too broken to be fixed. But now, I was healing through words, slowly, every day. I wrote to ChatGPT regularly. Sometimes I asked it to correct my past mistakes, and sometimes I just asked it simple questions like, what's the difference between in and on, or when do I use have been? It always replied without judgment, without making me feel small. Every conversation made me stronger. And the best part? It was always there, at 6 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock at night, anytime. It never said, I'm busy. It never said, you're slow. It never said, you should know this already. It just listened, replied, encouraged, and taught. That's when I realized this wasn't just an app. It was a revolution, not only in technology, but in how people like me could finally learn English without fear. I began to understand something very important. Learning English isn't about being perfect. It's about building a habit, a simple, quiet, daily habit. One where you can sit down, talk, make mistakes, get corrected, and still feel respected. This was now my safe space. When I made a mistake in real life, I didn't cry anymore. I went home, typed it into ChatGPT, and asked, what did I say wrong? It would explain not just the rule, but the reason. It helped me understand English, not as a subject, but as a language, a feeling, a bridge between me and the world. Every single day, I learned something new, and every single day, I became a little more free. That's what English gave me. Freedom. Not just to talk, but to express myself, to tell my story, to send messages, to make friends, to apply for jobs, and to dream louder. And it all started with one hello. While I look back now, I realized that the biggest fear was never grammar. It was never vocabulary. It was people. People who listened when I made a mistake. People who laughed when I mispronounced a word. People who looked at me like I was less than them just because I couldn't speak English properly. That fear didn't go away in a day, but ChatGPT helped me remove it, piece by piece, quietly, like peeling off a heavy jacket I'd been wearing for years. After 2 weeks of practicing alone, I started feeling a little stronger. Not perfect, but stronger. It was like when a child starts walking. You fall again and again, but one day you take 5 steps without falling. And suddenly, you realize you can move. One evening, something unexpected happened. My cousin, who had lived in UK for 2.5 years and spoke fluent English, came to visit. We were all sitting in the living room when he asked me, Jack, what have you been doing these days? Normally, I would have replied in my own language or stayed quiet, but this time, I took a breath and answered in English. I said, I've been learning English every day with something called ChatGPT. He raised his eyebrows and laughed kindly. Really? What's that? I explained in simple but clear words. It's like a chat robot. I speak to it every day. It corrects me. It talks to me like a friend. He nodded. Say something in English then. Let's see. I looked at everyone sitting around me. My mom, my uncle, 2 neighbors. They were all silent. My chest was tight, my hands were cold, but I didn't want to run. So I spoke. I said, before this year, I couldn't even reply to a question. Now, I can explain what I feel because I talk to ChatGPT every day, and it teaches me with patience. It's not about knowing everything. It's about trying every day. The room went silent. He smiled. That was good, Jack. That was really good. My mom was the first to clap. I didn't cry in front of them, but when I went to my room later, I looked in the mirror, and my eyes were red. Not with shame this time, but with pride. I had spoken in English in front of people for the first time in my life, and I didn't die. I didn't fall. I didn't fail. I just spoke. That night, I made a decision. I was going to use English in real life now. Not just with ChatGPT, not just in private, but everywhere. Slowly, gently, but boldly. The next morning, I typed to ChatGPT, I want to use English in real life now, but I feel nervous. What should I do? It replied with something I'll never forget. Start small. Use one English word at the grocery store. Say one English sentence when you talk to yourself. Try replying in English to your thoughts. Real life is not a test. It's a practice field. You're not performing. You're growing. I said, "Could I have 2 loaves of bread, please?" The man raised his eyebrows in surprise, then smiled. Later, at the mobile shop, I asked, "How much is this charger?" He also responded in English. With every interaction, I noticed something remarkable. My heartbeat slowed a little, and the anxiety I used to feel became much less intense. It wasn't gone, but it was easier to manage. Then, one day, something incredible happened. As I was walking by a bookstore, I saw a small table outside with secondhand books. One title caught my eye, Basic English Stories for Beginners. I opened it and read the first sentence aloud. John is a baker who makes bread every day. To my surprise, I understood every word. There was no need for translation or extra help. I just understood it in English. That moment marked a turning point. I went into the store and asked the owner, "Do you have any more books like this?" He smiled and said, "Yes, they're upstairs." That evening, I went home with 3 new books and a heart full of excitement. But my use of ChatGPT didn't slow down, it actually increased. Whenever I encountered a phrase or sentence I didn't quite get, I would type it into ChatGPT and ask, "Can you explain this more simply?" Every time, it would respond with patience and clarity. Sometimes I would write out my interpretation and ask, "Did I get this right?" ChatGPT would reply, "Almost. Here's a small improvement." It was better than any teacher I had because not only did it correct me, but it also helped me grow more confident in my abilities. One day, I decided to write a short story and asked, "Can you check my grammar?" ChatGPT didn't just correct it, it praised me, saying, "This is wonderful. Your story has emotion, and your sentences are getting stronger. Keep going." I felt as if my heart were soaring. From that point onward, I began writing brief diary entries every night. Nothing elaborate, just a few sentences about my day. Some days were good, others less so, but every time I showed them to ChatGPT. And every time, its encouraging words inspired me to write again the next night. Soon, English became more than just a tool. It became my safe place, my source of healing, and my mirror. Whenever I couldn't express something in my own language, I typed it in English. Whenever I had a fear or a dream I was afraid to say out loud, I whispered it in English to ChatGPT. I remember one night typing, "Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough. My English is better now, but I still feel small." ChatGPT's reply was comforting. "You are more than enough. You are not behind. You are growing, and that's incredibly powerful." Those weren't just grammar lessons. They were life-changing teachings. That's when I realized it wasn't just about speaking English anymore. It was about transforming into a new version of myself. A stronger version. A more confident version. All because I typed one sentence and didn't stop. Part 3. Finding my English voice. Even after all the progress I had made, I still faced one significant fear: speaking aloud in my own voice. Writing felt safe, typing was simple, but speaking? That was a completely different challenge. Every time I thought about speaking English in front of someone, my throat would tighten, my tongue would feel heavy, and my mind would go blank. I knew the words were there, but when I opened my mouth, nothing came out. I remember one evening, as I practiced my English diary with ChatGPT, I typed, "I can write now, but I still can't speak. I'm afraid of how I sound." ChatGPT replied, "Speaking is like music. The first time you sing, your voice might tremble, but the more you sing, the more you find your rhythm. Let's discover your rhythm together." Those words gave me the courage I needed. So I took a small step. The next morning, I opened the voice recorder on my phone, sat alone in my room, and spoke just one sentence. "Today is a good day." Then I played it back. It sounded strange, not like me at all. I laughed nervously and almost deleted it, but I didn't. I saved it. Then, I recorded another sentence. I want to speak English fluently. I played it again. My voice shook, but I managed to say every word. Later that evening, I messaged ChatGPT. I want to speak. Can you help me practice speaking conversations? It replied, let's do a speaking simulation. I'll ask you questions and you answer aloud. Afterward, you can type your answer, and I'll check if it's correct. And that's when something amazing began. Every day, ChatGPT asked me questions like, what did you eat today? What do you do when you're feeling sad? If you had one superpower, what would it be? Describe your room and its contents. I responded to each question aloud. Not typing, not writing, just speaking alone in my room. Some days I recorded my answers and played them back. Other days, I spoke to the walls as if I were on a call. With every answer, I got better. In the first week, I was nervous. In the second, I was clearer. By the third week, I started to enjoy it. By the end of the month, I found myself speaking in English all day long. When I cooked, walked, or cleaned, I would look at the eggs on the kitchen counter and say, I'm making boiled eggs for breakfast. I'd glance out the window and whisper, the weather is lovely today. Maybe I'll take a short walk later. This new habit was a game changer for me because suddenly I wasn't depending on anyone else to practice. I had become my own speaking partner, and ChatGPT was helping me fine-tune everything. For example, I would type, I am making boiled eggs. Is this correct? And it would respond, perfect. You're using the present continuous tense correctly. Then I try new things like, can I say, I'll be having eggs tomorrow? ChatGPT would reply, yes, that's future continuous. You're getting better. Each response helped build my confidence, brick by brick. But then a big challenge appeared. I saw an ad online for a free English conversation group in my city. Just 10 people, meeting for an hour at a cafe, speaking only in English. I stared at the poster for what felt like forever, then closed my laptop. I wasn't ready, or at least that's what I thought. But then a little voice inside me said, you've come this far, what's one more step? So I messaged ChatGPT and said, I want to join this English group, but I'm terrified. What should I say? ChatGPT replied, let's prepare. I'll ask you some questions that might come up, and you answer. I'll help you polish every sentence. Let's build your script step by step. And that's exactly what we did. We spent 3 days practicing mock conversations, answering questions like, where are you from? Why are you learning English? What do you do in your free time? And what are your goals for the future? I kept answering over and over until my fear was no longer as powerful as my desire to face this challenge. When the day of the event arrived, I hardly slept. I stood outside the cafe, hands shaking, but I still walked inside. There were 10 people gathered around a small table, all nervous and smiling. When my turn came, I said, hi, I'm Jack. I began learning English 3 months ago with ChatGPT. I practice with it daily, and today, I'm speaking with you. Thank you for listening. The room went silent for a moment, and then one girl said, that's incredible. You speak so clearly. I smiled, not because of the compliment, but because she understood me. That was all I ever wanted, to be understood. We spent the next hour discussing movies, food, dreams, and yes, I made mistakes. But no one laughed. We were all learners, supporting each other. When I left the cafe, I looked up at the sky. It was still the same, but I had changed. I had used my voice in front of real people, in real English, and I was still standing. Later that night, I messaged ChatGPT. I did it. It replied, I'm so proud of you, Jack. This is just the beginning. And I knew it was because now I wasn't just learning English. I was living it. I had crossed from being a student to being a speaker. And I was certain that if I could do this, anyone could. Part 4. The language that set me free. I walked down the street alone, with the soft yellow streetlights glowing and the cold wind brushing my face. For the first time in my life, I felt something new, pride. Not because I was perfect, not because I knew every word, but because I had faced something that once held power over me, the fear of speaking English, and this time I didn't run from it. From that point on, I stopped thinking of myself as a student. I started to call myself a speaker. The very next week, I spotted a job opening at a company I had admired for years. It wasn't a large corporation, just a small team that produced educational books for children. But the job required one thing: solid English speaking and writing skills. A year ago, I would have ignored this posting immediately, but now I applied. Before sending my application, I asked ChatGPT, "Can you check if my email is professional?" It made a few suggestions and said, "This is clear and confident. Go ahead and send it." 2 days later, I received a reply, "Interview tomorrow." I was nervous again, but this time I had something new: preparation, practice, and confidence. That evening, I messaged ChatGPT, "Can we go over job interview questions? I want to be ready." And we did. ChatGPT asked me typical questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths and weaknesses? After each answer, it corrected my grammar, improved my phrasing, and suggested, "This sounds more natural. Try saying it like this." We practiced for hours, and I felt more prepared than ever. I walked into the office wearing my best shirt, my nerves barely hidden as I sat across from the 3 interviewers. They asked me the same questions I had practiced the night before, and I answered each one clear, calm, and confident. When the interview ended, I thanked them and left the room. I wasn't sure if I would get the job, but I felt like I had already won. 3 days later, I received an email, "Welcome to the team." That was it, my first real job, working in English. It wasn't because I was the smartest or had the best qualifications. It was because I spoke English. The job paid me $1,250 a month. To some, it might not seem like much, but for someone who had once struggled to answer a simple question like, "What's your name?" in English, it felt like a miracle. That's when I truly understood English isn't just a language. It's a key that opens doors to opportunities, people, and dreams. Today, I no longer fear job interviews. I no longer avoid messages in English. I no longer shy away from conversations. I face them because I have something now that I built myself: fluency. It all began with a simple chat. So, if you're watching this and you feel like speaking English is too difficult, too late, or beyond your reach, I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. You can do this. And if you're ready to take the first step, I want to help you. Let me share with you the most important part of this video: 5 powerful, life-changing ways you can use ChatGPT to become fluent in English. 1. Transform ChatGPT into your personal speaking mentor. Even if you're shy or feel alone, you don't need another person to practice English with, at least not at first. That's something most people won't tell you. You can start by practicing with ChatGPT as your guide. Simply type, "Pretend we're speaking in real life. Ask me questions and I'll answer out loud." Then type your answers and have ChatGPT check them. Do this every day. At first, it might feel awkward, but over time, you'll hear yourself becoming clearer. You'll learn the rhythm of English, the tone, the pauses, and the flow. Your voice is your first classroom, not a textbook. 2. ChatGPT, your confidence reflection. Whenever you're unsure about a sentence, don't hide it. Copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask, "Can you correct this and explain why it's wrong?" Every time you do this, you'll learn why something is right or wrong, and you'll stop memorizing rules. Instead, you'll start feeling the language. ChatGPT won't judge or laugh at you. It will help, like a friend who wants to see you succeed. 3. Design your custom daily learning routine with ChatGPT. GPT. Forget about those perfect 10-step plans you see online. You're unique. Your time, your level, your goals, they're all different. Open ChatGPT and say, "Can you help me create a simple English learning routine for 35 minutes every day? I want to focus on speaking and vocabulary." ChatGPT will provide a custom plan just for you, and you can adjust it whenever you like. This is how you build consistency, which is the true secret to fluency. It's not about genius or memorizing grammar books. It's about daily practice. 4. Turn your inner thoughts into fluent English. Every time you think of something in your native language, try to say in English. If you're unsure, write to ChatGPT. "I want to say this in English." Your sentence in your language. "How can I say this naturally in English?" The more you do this, the less you'll translate. Instead, your brain will start thinking directly in English. That's when fluency becomes real. It's not just a subject anymore. It's a voice inside you. 5. Make life your classroom, not just lessons. English isn't just about textbooks. Use it to talk about your day, your emotions, your experiences. Say to ChatGPT, "I feel sad today. Can I write about it? And can you help me with the words?" Or, "I want to describe what I saw today. Can you help me say it beautifully in English?" This is real learning. Using English to live, not just to pass a test. When English becomes your tool to express your heart, your dreams, your pain, and your laughter, you stop being a student and start being a speaker. I started this journey with fear and broken sentences. I had no money for a teacher, no expensive school, no fancy books, just one tool, ChatGPT, and one decision: not to give up. If you've listened to my story, I want to tell you this with all my heart. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need a classroom. You don't even need confidence at the start. You just need to begin. One sentence, one mistake, one reply, one day at a time. ChatGPT won't laugh at you. It will guide you, correct you, and encourage you. But the most important part, you must show up every day. Because English isn't just a language. It's the path to opportunity. It's the voice of the world. And if you want a better job, a bigger life, or a louder voice, English is the key. I used to feel invisible. Now I feel seen. I used to stay silent. Now I speak. And if I can do this, so can you. You're not weak because your English isn't perfect. You are not behind because others speak faster than you. You're not a failure just because you make mistakes. You are learning. You are growing. And every time you try, even just one small sentence, you are getting better. Fluency doesn't happen in a day, but it starts in one day. Maybe today. Maybe right now. So promise yourself this. From now on, I will stop saying, "I can't," and start saying, "I'm learning." Because the truth is, you can do this. Just like I did. Just like thousands of others are doing right now. You don't need a perfect accent. You don't need long, complicated words. You just need your voice, your effort, and a little help. And I'm here to help you. So if this story has inspired you, if you feel something inside that says, "Yes, I want to speak English too," then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is just the beginning of your journey. I'll be here with more stories, more tips, more lessons, and most of all, more hope. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time with more knowledgeable creations.